Hey, welcome to Men on Everything. I'm Tony Scott, and that's Troy Johnson, and that is Mark Clark. And it's our show where we talk about everything pop culture and news and sports and just whatever's on our mind, kick it around a little bit. Troy and I are back from the Gladiators Unite 2014 for the Scandal Gladiators had a meetup in Los Angeles. And Troy, I was just reading this morning she should have waited a week or two because on August 16th at the Hollywood Bowl, there's going to be a James Brown tribute.
Wow.
Amongst the stars performing will be Aloe Black and D'Angelo.
Oh, wow. That's my birthday too. That would have been a perfect birthday gift for me.
See, you need to fly out. You need to get back on that plane, man, because it sounds like that's going to be a pretty good show. So
yeah, that does sound pretty good.
Yeah, but it was a great time. Joe Morton came by. Eli Pope was in the house, and he was very gracious and very nice, and decided to take pictures with everybody. And that took a while, but finally,
everybody.
Everybody. Yeah, but it was really cool, man.
I gotta say, Scandal Gladiators are amazing.
Yeah, they are.
I have not been around a group, first of all, so genuinely nice. Mm-hmm. And secondly, so enthusiastic about, I don't know if I've seen anybody so enthusiastic about anything.
Man.
I mean, they love the show, and the fact that you can come together from literally all over the world over a TV show, but
right.
Then, it goes way beyond that. There's kind of a sisterhood, a friendship, a kinship. They had a great time, and it was really cool to be there. And they love Men on Scandal, baby. They love us.
They gave us lots of love, and they're from everywhere, man. Jamaica, the Barbados,
Bermuda,
Virginia, just everywhere,
Georgia,
man.
Arizona. I mean, all over the U.S., Canada.
Mm-hmm. Had a Canadian there. Yeah, it was really nice.
It was. Yeah, I'm happy the Canadian was there. Was not Justin Bieber, so I'm just happy about that.
Or his mom.
Yes.
So, this Ebola thing, man, folks in Atlanta are kind of panicked a little bit because they're like, why they got to treat them in Atlanta? Well, that's what you have when you get the CDC there in Atlanta.
That's right. So. Everybody knows crunk juice heals everything, though, so it shouldn't be a problem.
But they say that the woman who has the Ebola, they're saying that, that when she was where she was, they were talking about funeral arrangements, and here she is in the States, and she's getting great treatment. She apparently had yogurt before she even got on the plane. So,
oh, damn.
I guess maybe science is doing what science does, which is a great thing. And maybe we won't, hopefully, from my lips to God's ears, we won't lose her,
Well, and already there's controversy because some people are saying, okay, so these people come to America and they get cured of Ebola and survive, and then people in other countries are dying like flies. What's going on?
Well,
it's an experimental drug. A company in San Francisco, hasn't been tested on anybody, but I think probably why there's a move to try it out on these people is both of them are physicians. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like they were working in the region. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I mean you have people who have been there on the ground who've experienced it, and if they can recover from it, just imagine what kind of insight they can give to their fellow medical professionals.
Right. I mean, it'd be a great thing. Now the question is, because I heard the experts say this morning that we really don't know when someone gets on a plane. You don't know whether they have Ebola or not.
That's true. There's somebody quarantined in I want to say in New York. Sorry, Mark, but. They are not sure if this person has Ebola. They're doing some testing to figure out if that's the case or not.
Wow.
But I thought the thing that I'm kind of baffled by, it's really, though, it's not highly contagious. It's bloods and fluids, semen. So what's up with that?
I thought it was an airborne disease.
No, it's not airborne disease.
It's not airborne? Okay.
No. So I'm like, how do these people, I guess, intending to people, how do you still get it? Because you have your gloves on, you have your mask on, you're a doctor. How would you exchange fluids with people?
I mean, your a rubber glove is porous. I mean, if
but even that, it's not a wound.
Simple, just because you have on a rubber glove and a mask.
Yeah, but not a wound. You shouldn't contract a disease through a rubber glove.
I don't know. I was under the impression, I could be wrong. I thought it was airborne, but we'll have to do the Men on Scandal, Men on Everything medical research team is going to have to
Yes.
figure out what's going on that one.
See if we can book Sanjay Gupta on to the show, man. And see
You
if we
lost
can
me
find
on
out.
that one.
Hold on. We have research here. Could you look that up for me, please? Sure. Al Rim on research today.
What?
Al Rim in the building.
The research department.
He's in addition to being an engineer, he's also a doctor.
Okay.
No, he plays one. And is Ebola airborne? Al is the question.
Yes.
We'll come back to that.
All right, then. I was reading that 1 in 5 married couples hide a secret that could be a deal breaker. In other words, it could end the marriage. 1 in 5 married couples have a secret. Now, I will tell you, I am not in that category because I'm at a point in my life where, you know what, I don't care. I ain't keeping those secrets, man. You know, on the rare occasion that a woman does hit on me, I tell my wife because I think it's kind of funny. But you know, that's just me.
What about when guys hit on you?
Well, I wait and tell her until she's had a few drinks.
Check it. The old silver fox. Silver fox gets shouted out a couple times.
Man, but I guess maybe that's always been true though. There's a certain percentage of married couples that one of them holds a secret that could end the marriage.
Yeah, of course. I think the longer you're in it, then it's different. But early on, sure, people tell stuff they don't say. I would be shocked if people didn't have secrets. And in fact, like you said, I think it's okay. It's okay to have that secret. Keep it. Yeah.
So if you found out that your wife was like the village bicycle before she met you, would that be a deal breaker?
No, like I said, there's nothing I could find out about my wife at this point where I would be instantly like, we're over.
Okay.
I said it, okay? What? No. What? I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you know, let's look. We've talked about this in some form before. All these secret children that are running around the world, you know, I mean, it's not far-fetched that there are people that have kept secrets from their family, obviously from the person that you're betrothed to for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. So, you know, obviously it's a communication breakdown, and whether or not people can address it and fix it is, you know, obviously.
Well, the old excuse is always this. Well, you never asked me if I had any other children.
Right. Wow.
You know, like Bill Clinton, I did not have sex with that woman.
I think what the media talks about, how the media talks about marriage and how marriage really works, especially if you're talking to long-term married people, it's two different animals. I think if you ask most married people that question, they'd be like, I think long-term, been married past 10 years, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's a whole different ballgame, and it got kids. It's a different ballgame. I think it's like very few, if you're going to ride it out, I think you pretty much are in. You know, it's like, okay, I did, but that's just my take. But I think my friends who have been married a long time, Tony included, I think they almost feel the same way. You know, my friends asked a question the other day. They said, "Your wife pulls in the driveway. There's a body in the trunk. What y'all gonna do? Probably grab a
shovel.
Grab a shovel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, wait. Here's my question though, Mark. How long do you have to think about it? Just go ahead and grab the shovel. Like, oh, okay, let's get to digging.
We gotta get these kids through college. Oh well.
But then I also think it depends on who it is in the trunk, though.
Yeah, probably so.
You know.
What? It's my mom. No. The man she was sleeping with.
You gotta go.
The man she was sleeping with.
Yeah.
You grab a shovel.
You grab a shovel. Yeah. The woman she was sleeping with.
Grab a shovel. Okay.
What about the woman she was sleeping with?
Grab a respirator. We can save her. Get the oxygen.
And since we're talking about couples, Michael Strahan and Nicole Murphy apparently have broken up. And the little bit of heat on her side because they're saying that she picked the wrong time to go public with it because it was right like the day that he got enshrined into the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Which was like the biggest event, you know, of his life,
the pinnacle of his career.
Yeah, and then she kind of pissed on it because the word got out. She says I didn't put the word out, And now I was reading this morning that some of the blogs were saying they broke up because he had been seeing another woman. But then I also read a couple of days ago that they actually had called off the engagement a few weeks ago, if not a couple of months ago, and they were just keeping it under wraps until this Hall of Fame thing blew by. So I don't know who to believe. They make a good looking couple. I hope they can work it out.
At least he's got a jacket to keep him warm. That gold jacket from the NFL.
Well, she said. She always said there was a gap in the relationship. Well, I'm here all week. Thank you.
By the way, she's fine.
She is fine. She's a good-looking woman. She really is.
Good Lord.
Man.
And ladies, the ladies who say she looks like a man, fine. She's fine. She's a fine-ass man then. She's fine. You always get that. Women, she looks like a man to me. Okay, great.
And whatever.
And what do you look like, Chewbacca?
I mean,
right.
But hey, I understand though. I understand what they're saying though. She can be kind of harsh, hard features, but she's still fine.
I don't think she's got hard features.
Kind of mannish?
I don't think she looks mannish at all. I just think she's tall.
Kind of she's probably kind of. I can see what people say. Kind of a harsh, kind of a hard. No,
I don't see it. I don't see it.
All right.
I don't see. If anybody says Nicole Murphy looks like a man, they're just hating.
Okay. All right.
That's just me. That's just me myself personally.
Absolutely.
So what is this fire game these kids are playing on Facebook? What is that, man? Well, we worry about our kids, especially during the summer, because then, an idle mind is the devil's playground. So they got all this free time. And so you figure you got them locked in the house. Now they're setting themselves on fire and putting it on Facebook, man. Is that the deal? Now we got to worry about this?
This is...
Yeah. There's another game, too, that's going on.
What, the choking game?
It's like a chokeout. Basically, they're compressing their friends' chests until they pass out.
Yes, it's called stupidity.
It's stupid.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I must admit, this fire game ain't nothing new. I remember I was 7 years old when Uncle Earl told me to get his Zippo lighter and get the lighter fluid and put the lighter fluid in the Zippo lighter. And he told me to close it up and light it. I lit it and I caught on fire.
Did you really?
I was the original fire challenge, and he laughed his ass off. You all right, boy. You all right.
They buy you a new shirt, anything, ice cream?
I'm very familiar with what they're doing, but this is sad when technology catches up to a slow people.
That's. I mean, now parents have something else to worry about. And I guess it's mostly with young men. I don't know. I haven't read about a girl doing it. Not saying that they haven't. I just haven't read about it.
This is how you cure this. Tell your kids, if you're stupid enough to set yourself on fire, then go ahead. That's what I would say.
Really? That's what you would say, man?
Yes. Are you an idiot? What are you talking about? You're setting yourself on fire in front of a camera? Your ass need to be burned up. That's what I say.
Why don't you do it for them?
And then...
You want to get on fire?
Don't use a lot of y'all gave for Father's Day.
That's right. You anyway tonight.
No, I don't know. I mean, does some of that fall on bad parenting?
No, that's stupid kids. That's stupid. Yeah, come on, that's some stupid kids, man. You're desperate for attention.
No. That's too
everybody,
bad.
People taking selfies and uploading video. That the good news is when they get older, we will be laughing our asses off at. Hey, remember when you lit yourself on fire? I mean, there's gonna be a whole generation of people that are gonna regret all of the things that they did in the last 2 years when they were kids, and it's gonna haunt them for the rest of their lives. And we're old enough to be just old. We're going to be up in the nursing home laughing at them, just stupid.
Yeah.
Not too much. They might light us on fire as old people.
So I was reading this article where this woman sold her 18-year-old daughter's Katy Perry concert tickets because she says her daughter's a brat. and she's being some have criticized her, some have praised her. But I mean, if she's a brat, whose fault is that?
Their mama's fault.
I mean, kids don't become brats. We let them become brats.
I thought she's 18. Are you a brat at 18?
Wow.
You're a grown-ass brat.
That's a little...
Damn.
I don't know. But what would you have done? Would you have sold the tickets?
Why is this? What happened? How did this even get out?
I don't know. Well, she put it on Facebook. She put the tickets for sale on Facebook, and then the story kind of got out there, and Facebook actually contacted her and says, "Take it down. You got to take it. You can't do that.
You can't take that what?
You can't sell the tickets. You can't do that. Not on Facebook." So I mean, it's their Facebook is there. They can do what they want with it, right?
I thought. Does this woman know there's Ebola going around? We ain't got no time for this.
A news story. I tell you what, give the tickets back to the girl and set her on fire. That's all you gotta do.
You guys are horrible. You guys are horrible, man.
Hey, you want to be a dark horse? Let me light your ass on fire. You'll be a dark horse for real,
man.
When research just came in, Al Rim says that they are concerned that it may be airborne.
What, Ebola?
Right. Ebola. Yeah.
Okay. All right. This just in.
Didn't believe my science information. That's okay.
No, it's not. It wasn't considered airborne, but they're concerned now because you know what I mean. So it wasn't designated as airborne before.
Right.
Okay.
Now the white people get it, and now it's airborne. When we had it, it was transferred by sex and drugs.
Well,
don't get me started,
man.
Wow. And then the patients are airborne. They flew them right back onto the U.S. Oh, we got to get this under control.
Hey, have you guys read the story about the politician out of I think Alabama who says there's a war on white people, and it's been started by President Obama?
Mm. Well, first of all, Tony, they never say president.
Well, that's true.
Obama. You don't have no title.
Yeah.
There's no title for him. It's just Obama did it.
Right.
Well, the good news for white people is there's a war on white people, and whoever's doing the war is losing. Black people, the war on black people is a winner, though. Damn.
I mean, I
wish the people that had the war on black people were the same people that had the war on white people, and we would take their war over our war.
Well, I don't think. It kind of goes back to politicians who want to cut programs that help the needy and stuff like that because they don't know the struggle. They don't know, and as far as white people, obviously not all white people, but a lot of white people don't understand what it's like for a person of color have to be told that you're less than a human being.
Right.
They don't know what that's like. They don't know what it's like to be told we're not going to serve you, And some people say, well, they don't do that anymore. Well, you haven't been in all parts of the country. You can go to South St. Louis here and get the same kind of treatment. I mean, to be honest.
Dang.
So I think part of it is they don't understand the struggle. And I don't think there's not a war on white people. I think white people are just feeling a little bit of heat now. But the interesting thing is that, we always kind of tend to think, they say that the war is actually on the GOP and they're actually killing themselves. They're shooting themselves in the foot because the GOP, in a lot of cases, if you don't think like them or if you don't even look like them, then you're the enemy and you must be destroyed. And that's not the way this country is supposed to work. We're going to have our differences, but we got to work together for the good of the country. But the GOP doesn't want to budge on the fact that if you don't think like we do or look like we do, we don't want to have anything to do with you.
And it's an interesting point that you make, Tony, because we're at a point where, Republicans, for example, are, knowing that they're going to need to court people of color in the future. So it's an interesting time because some people feel like the Democratic Party is not giving them what they need, and there are slots and opportunities in the Republican Party, but it's a party that's not really adjusting to the needs of many people of color They passed some legislation involving the immigration reform right now, or recently, or it's in Congress right now. That and I don't remember exactly what it's going to do, but it's gonna create some limitations and some problems for Hispanics at a time when they want to be courting Hispanics for the presidential election. But I was listening to a news report that was saying that because the Hispanic population is not going to be a key influencer in a lot of the congressional races, they can get away with it because they're not worried about the Hispanic vote until the presidential election when it really could have an impact. So it's like, they're getting away with stuff that could entice and make and bolster the conservative, base that wants to see a lot of these immigration reforms taken away. So they're kowtowing to the groups that they always have, and then they'll change their tune in the November election when there's a presidential election. So it's an interesting, and Democrats do some similar things. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, that's true. It's interesting though, because when you see someone who has like a bumper sticker on their car that clearly labels themselves as GOP, then you kind of like look at them like they don't like me. Some people are quick to label all GOP members as racist. I'm not ready to do that. But what do you do when you see someone of color who's a Republican, who's you're like, what's wrong with them? That's what I always think. What's wrong with them? I mean, I'll admit that. Although I do know they have the right to be affiliated with any party or no party.
Yeah, that's true. You're right, Tony. When I see a woman, a Hispanic, an African American, and or someone, though you can't tell if someone's gay or not, but if someone if somehow is identified as gay and they have a conservative or GOP thing, you're right. I do say the same thing. I go, what's going on? What's going on here?
Yeah.
And I think that is a major problem if you are the GOP, that the average person has that reaction. Now, we happen to be people of color, so I don't know if white people have that same reaction or that same insight. But I think you're right, Tony. You see a black person or you see a Hispanic, especially now, Hispanic with, and when Bush was president the first time, I saw there was a huge Hispanic support. I think it was the Catholic support. I think it was whatever. But I think that's kind of dwindled since then, since Obama. But and it's these issues that are in the forefront. But I agree. What your platform stands for makes it very difficult for anybody who's inclusive to represent. I hosted a debate here, or is in Maryland, and the Republican challenger, if I'm honest, was the best. He presented the best argument. He represented the best, but his party just doesn't align with what he was talking about. You're like, this guy's good, but you're Republican and your party disagrees with everything you're talking about, from the gay issue to immigration. So
are we getting closer? Are we getting closer to the point where a third party at some point is going to be taken very, very, very seriously?
I don't think so.
Well, you know why? I think people are not dialed into they're not paying attention. They really aren't. When you think about the fact that people like the term independent because they're thinking about, I can make my own damn decisions. I don't need the Republicans. I don't need the Democrats. And it really isn't even about that. It's really about, when you think about Republicans and Democrats have worked together for a long time. Martin Luther King essentially was Republican. A lot of African Americans were Republican prior to the early 60s, when you had Barry Goldwater and Ronald Reagan insert a new kind of conservatism into the Republican Party. That kind of changed the paradigm. Mm-hmm. And, and the Democrats, became less of a Dixiecrat situation, that were suppressing and segregating blacks, to a more inclusive party. So there was kind of this shift over the last 50 years. But prior to that, both parties worked together, and they were Republicans were a lot more liberal, and some may say Democrats were a little bit more conservative. So they kind of overarched instead of being in separate corners, which is what we have now. Yeah. So the third party situation, you got these independent folks who now, if people don't pay attention anyway, from election to election, and then you add a third party that only shows up when there's a big election, that has no platform, has no game plan other than to disrupt or just to be, I'm independent, then it wreaks havoc on the system. So, the support for that third party kind of goes back and forth. Well, really, there are a lot more than three parties in this country, and you can see how
there are a lot more than the Republicans and Democrats. But I mean,
you got the Libertarians, the Green Party, and all.
Yeah, which one's being taken the most serious, though? Which one can actually make a difference? I don't think there's one yet. I think that the Tea Party had momentum, but I think they just blew themselves up. So,
overall apathy, I think, is, and I think the overall apathy piece is, people aren't participating anymore.
So we got about 5 minutes, man. What do you got? You guys have anything?
I had a thought about states' rights. I was trying to think. We were just talking politics. I know we're tired of that, but it kind of hit me. The gentleman who was killed by the police officer in New York, those kind of incidences. I thought about when you say states' rights, right? It's back to race again for people of color. There's a subconscious association to civil rights, and how if the government did not step in, some of these states, it would be crazy.
Yeah, it would be crazy.
And it's the same thing with immigration. So the irony to me, when the Republicans, the conservatives talk about, well, let the states decide, most people are like, oh, hell no, because the states are a bunch of crazy people.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's hard, because of the history, for people of color to not be Democratic or liberal, because, and that whole when you talk about big government, the big government that most people of color are talking about is a government that basically kind of came in and saved or enforced enforced some safety for people. So I think that's why it's always lingering in the background. And then this thing happens in New York, or these cops that you see every week there's a new video, and it goes back to that again. If it was just up to the state, or if it's up to a Florida, up to Arizona for immigration, what the hell would really be happening? So
I'm firmly convinced, clearly convinced, that if the people of Mexico and South America and Latin America looked like the GOP, this wouldn't be an issue. It wouldn't be an issue. It'd be like, oh, we need to welcome everybody of all creeds and race. That would be the attitude, the way the Constitution was written. Is it a problem? Yes, it's a problem. Is there a solution right now? No, there isn't a solution. So what do? I have no idea. I'm just being real honest. But I am convinced, though, that if the people of Mexico and Latin America who are coming to this country through our southern border look like the GOP, this would not be an issue.
You got a good point there. And the other thing about, immigration into this country, it's interesting. I don't know if you all remember, it was the one thing that George Bush did. If I take off, I don't usually give a lot of commentary, but for this moment I will. The one thing I agreed with George Bush on was his immigration reform proposal. But you know what? When he was president, the whole country voted it down, including African Americans, which I was shocked by. He got no support on it. The bill and the legislation went nowhere. And it was interesting because the point that he made was that he said creating a legal pathway to citizenship makes sense in America when you have people that are working jobs, that are fast food, that are in, all these low-paying jobs that immigrants seem to be taking, that he said, which was profound in some ways, Americans are basically saying they don't even want.
Right.
You don't want the job as a custodian. Mm-hmm. You don't want the job at the fast food restaurant. You don't want the job as the groundskeeper. You don't want any of those jobs paving streets and doing construction, So if you don't want the jobs and they're not being filled and there are people that are willing to work them and work them well, what's the problem?
Right.
But nobody wanted to hear that at the time.
No, you're right. You're right. I forgot about that, but you're absolutely right. So
Well, and there is Troy, that if there are jobs, if there are road crew jobs, I still feel there are people who want those jobs who are not getting a shot for those jobs either. You know what I mean? Because there's, you know what I mean?
There are people. No, I'm not saying Yeah, right. I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. But I think the process, the fact that he was saying, look,
yes,
if you're going to immigrate to this country, we know you're coming across the border. We can't spend $1 trillion to build a fence. So look, it's just like getting a speeding ticket. Okay, we caught you here. Pay the fine. You got to pay $5,000 to take yourself off of the illegal rolls and get yourself a green card and try to become a citizen. What's the problem? You can't deport 15 million people.
No, that's true. That is true. And you know what? No, but I mean, I see the point that President Bush made years ago, because nobody working in the fields, you know, picking lettuce or picking whatever. Nobody in this country wants those jobs.
No,
nobody wants those jobs.
$5,000?
Huh?
Who has $5,000?
Well, that's true too. But those jobs, you know, that a lot of people who come to this country illegally and take are jobs that people generally in this country don't want to have anything to do with. But the thing is that if they did, we would be paying a lot more for our produce, because they wouldn't, you know, people who would want those jobs wouldn't want them for those wages.
That's true.
Well, see, that's the other trick the GOP pulls. The GOP they're the company that hires all this illegal labor for cut rate labor. That's the irony. They fight all day to shut down this border, but these people are funding their companies.
Right.
But you know what? It's arguable. I mean, and this would be a study in democracy. But if you have 15 million new citizens who are willing to take these jobs, and they're willing, if they work hard enough in a lettuce field to earn $5,000, let's say, for example, to earn their way into this country and try to get right, what makes you think that they wouldn't fight for higher pay and, you know, in situations like that to improve the situation as Americans?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Which scares the GOP / some white people.
But I think that's the other trick, is that you have the GOP, you have the people who run everything, who employ all the lettuce pickers because they own the huge company. Then you have the working class scared white person who's rallying. So the guy that has all the money has his little role players fighting for him. But at the end of the day, he's the one who gets, he's the puppeteer, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, the people with all the money will always, at the end of the day, will always have it their way. We just have,
and they'll always be the GOP.
So
all your friends, all your liberals who are Democrats who got money are Republicans, really. That's another part.
We are headed toward 35 minutes, so we'll leave it all right there. We appreciate you watching. If you could give it a thumbs up, if you could subscribe to the channel, that would be wonderful. If you could share it, that'd be even greater. If you would sign up for the newsletter, that would be pretty awesome too. You could do that at talking360.com. So that's it for Men on Everything. Men on Scandal, I'm actually, because we had a chance at the Scandal meetup to actually talk with the AfterBuzz TV folks who do the Scandal recap, their version of it, and looking forward to having one, maybe two of them on. And the guy who does the cartoon Scandal, Kevin, he's just a talented young man, and going to try and get him on too in the weeks leading up when we transition back to Men on Scandal. So we look forward. We'll keep you up to date on
guys.
that.
I think we might have to do Men on Power. I'm hearing a lot of buzz about Power.
Oh, the 50 Cent show?
Yeah.
Well, we need to decide that so we can catch up, you know, and watch the past episode, because I think they might be done with the first season already. I don't know.
One other side note, for the Gladiator fans that didn't make it to Los Angeles, next year, Gladiators meet up in Washington, D.C. So
that's true. Yeah.
Get ready for that.
Yep.
You're going to hear a lot of that from us, because we're gonna be involved.
And see, right when that happens, then Mark will get a job in
Yet
LA.
again. So it's going to be really, really fun.
Well, Party! I'm
Right,
booking the party
exactly.
now, y'all. We got the party jumping off, y'all.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Tony said, okay.
We
That's
are
what you
Men on
say.
Everything. I'm Tony Scott. That is Mark Clark. That is Troy Johnson from the studios of WHUR in Washington, D.C. And we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.